Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Final Whistle. And today, we're going to be talking some NBA playoffs. They have finally kicked off. Every single game has been played. Every single team's played a game. And we are going to go down each series for the opening rounds and give our predictions. We'll start over on the east side. 1-8, the Atlanta Hawks overachieve and find themselves in the number one overall seed. And the Brooklyn Nets are the eighth seed, who underachieved, finding themselves in last place in the East. So, Dave, who you like in this one?
I think this is a pretty easy pick here. Atlanta has surprised everybody this season. They've played so well. They've really showed that playing team basketball wins, like the Spurs did last year to win the NBA Finals. They really have played team basketball all season. Came out of nowhere to get the number one seed, and I think they're gonna win it pretty easily.
Going with my upset, honestly.
Wow.
I personally think that the Brooklyn Nets are it's the more talented team.
Come on,
clearly.
Ross.
When you look at in the beginning of the season, no one would have expected the Hawks to be where they are, and no one would have expected the Nets to be there. It would have been flip flopped in a way. And I still maybe to my own fault am not sold on the Atlanta Hawks.
And
I haven't bought in, and I'm really not going to.
I'm really disappointed in Deron Williams because he just has not played like what he is capable of. His play has been disappointing. He hasn't led the Nets anywhere in his whole tenure on the Nets, and I think he's just a huge disappointment for this team.
I said this to a friend of mine. I said the key to this will be Deron Williams winning the point guard matchup against Jeff Teague. And if he can do that, I think
And he
the
didn't win
Nets
game one.
have a great chance.
He didn't win game one.
The thing is, though, that I don't think the Nets have pressure yet because they don't have the home court, so they don't have to win in Atlanta. They lost by 6 the first game. Feel it out. Game 2, you got to really push Atlanta to the limits.
How many games are you going with if the Nets are going to win?
I would think it would have to be in 6. I don't think they would win a game 7 in Atlanta.
No, I mean I think if anything, it's going 5 games. I don't think this is going too far after that. And if it does, then I would think that would favor the Nets because they have some guys that have been there. But even that, I don't think that they have a chance of going past 6 games.
You made a great point there. To me, the longer the series, the better the Nets' chances are.
That's for sure, but still, I don't believe that this is going past 5 games. The Hawks are just too talented. Their teamwork is just going to overmatch the Nets.
Okay. Now the 2-7, the Cleveland Cavaliers, powered by the King LeBron James, alongside Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving, facing off against the surprise Boston Celtics, who a lot of people thought were in tank mode. All of a sudden, after the All-Star break, go over 10 games over 500, which was just came out of nowhere. Isaiah Thomas actually finished in second place for sixth man voting. He had a great season for the team, and they find themselves in the playoffs surprisingly. So, but Dave, your prediction for this one?
This is an interesting matchup because last night they played game 1. Boston was winning for the most of the first half.
Mm-hmm.
They were ahead, but then obviously Cleveland started to play better and they fell apart. But I think I'm gonna go with a sweep here. Cleveland 4-0. Yeah. It's LeBron James. He's just over matchup, and you're not gonna stop him.
No, it's going to be a clean sweep for me too. That's what I would. That's what I'm expecting. As a Heat fan, I can tell you this is kind of what a LeBron James team does in the in the first round. They cruise and then they go, all right, let's get rid of this guy.
He had Kyrie helping him with his own 30, so
yeah, I mean,
there's no stopping him.
They'll be fine.
Yeah.
This series is going to be quick 4-0, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
We now go to the 3-6 and another surprise team in the playoffs with the Bucks at the 6th seed, and the 3 seed Chicago Bulls might put a couple teams on notice here because Mr. Derrick Rose himself, I'm not his biggest fan, but I want to see him healthy, and he looked healthy and he looked real sharp.
He did. It was great to see, and I want to see him stay healthy because we all know he's an MVP. He has such a big potential, and we've never seen him come out of that potential ever since his MVP run. But I think he was great to see him playing well. I think Chicago's going to win 6.
In 6?
Yeah, I think I think they're going to go 6 games.
Oh, I think you're very generous. I only give the Bucks a game because I'm a fan of Jason Kidd's coaching. I think for the miraculous job that he's done, I think one of those games in that in the Milwaukee building will be very exciting. Even though they're not going to have that much of home court, because when you watch, a lot of Chicago fans make that trip. But I think that the Bucks will be able to get one of them. They'll get themselves a game at home. But I just think the Bulls are going to be too much for them to handle.
I just think that my reasoning is Derrick Rose is not going to have a great game every single game, and I think the games that he slips up and maybe has a poor game, Milwaukee will come on top of those games. So that's why I think I'm going with 6. I'll give him 2 games just for the fact that I'm not positive that they're going to win 2 games, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if they won 2 games.
Okay. Now, I feel like the first 3 matchups for a lot of people are pretty easy picks. I mean, even though I went with the Nets, I think a lot of people, though, have, 1, 2, and 3 all advancing. You look at this 4-5, though. It's a really intriguing matchup here. The Toronto Raptors, the 4 seed, they have home court, playing up against the Washington Wizards, who took Game 1, stole home court away behind a vintage game from Paul Pierce. Dave, what are your thoughts?
This is all about experience, and Paul Pierce came to play. We all saw that in Game 1. Paul Pierce was running Game 1. And that's why they won Game 1. And I think Washington's going to come up with this victory in this series.
I love the Wizards. John Wall is one of my favorite players. I think Bradley Beal is a future multiple-time All-Star. And I think behind Paul Pierce's leadership and the size that you get in players like Martin Gortat and Nene, I think that Washington is going to be too much for Toronto to handle.
Yeah,
that's another team I've never really been sold on as far as the Raptors go.
And we've really seen the past few years that Toronto really they slip up in the playoffs. They haven't really gone as good as they've been in the regular season. That's why I have to go with the Wizards as well, because the Wizards, I think, are the most underrated team in the playoffs. They have a lot of potential to do damage, and I think out of the lower seeds to even be in the Western Conference, they have the potential to go the farthest. Actually, I take that back. I wouldn't say that out of the Western Conference, out of the Eastern Conference, yeah.
No, but I think that the Wizards are a team that I wouldn't necessarily want to be playing, and I think that that's something that's going to happen to the Raptors. I think Wizards close it out at home because I think that, Toronto will take, this coming game, and I think that they'll win what should be Game 5 in their home court. But I think the Wizards take it in 6.
Yeah, I have to agree. I'll give them 6 games, and I think the Wizards are just gonna be too much to handle, and they're gonna win 6 games.
Okay, now throw it over to the West, and a really fun matchup here with this 1-8. The Thunder missed out, and that got Mr. Anthony Davis, the future MVP, the future face of the league as everyone sees it, into his very first playoff series. He's going up against the best team in the entire league in the Warriors. They had themselves a 25-point lead at one point, and that lead got cut to about 4. It was 5 or 4 due to a 20-point fourth quarter from Anthony Davis.
Yeah. Well, that was expected. Throughout that whole game, I was like, all right, they're gonna make a run at some point. They're not gonna come back, but they'll make a run to get back close. But I never expected them to take the lead in the game at all.
I'll tell you, I think that you're gonna see Game 2 be interesting. I think it goes one of 2 ways here. I think that either the Warriors wake up and just run them out the building, or the Pelicans are going to really test them here. I don't think the Pelicans can win that series. Tyreke Evans has some injury issues. Eric Gordon is, he's good, but he's not great. Drew Holiday's really been a shell of himself ever since going over to New Orleans. And I think Anthony Davis is amazing, and I think he's going to have the ball so much. But he can only really do so many things. But I'll tell you, the Warriors really kind of checked out. And I didn't like that. They checked out. You saw them missing free throws. It was a bad showing for them in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, I have to agree with that, but I'm going to go with a 4-0 sweep here.
Okay.
I give New Orleans all the credit in the world. They fought hard to get in the playoffs, but the Warriors are just going to be too much to handle. Stephen Curry is going to lead them. He's really proven himself this year to become one of the best players in the whole entire league, and he's just going to be too much.
I got to give the Pelicans a game. I think that Anthony Davis has a stellar game. I think you're going to see Anthony Davis average over 30 points this series. I got to give the Pelicans a game. I think the Warriors are going to find themselves slipping up one game to really wake them up, and it's going to be something that they need.
Yeah, I could see that happening, but even that, I wouldn't give them more than one game. It's just Warriors are too good.
Okay. Now, the 2-7 is a matchup that not many people know who would be this 2 seed. A lot of things moved around in that final day of games, and the Houston Rockets end up with the seed, and they're against the veteran Dallas Mavericks behind Dirk Nowitzki. The first game went the Rockets' way. Dave, what do you think about the rest of the series?
This is an interesting matchup because Dallas always gives teams hard trouble. You know, they always give them a game, and I'm back and forth on this one. I want to go with the Houston Rockets because they are a good team, and I'm going to take them. And I'm going to say 6 games because you have to give Dallas 2 games just because of the veteran leadership, like you said, from Dirk Nowitzki, Tyson Chandler. I'm going to give them 2 games just for the fact of the veteran leadership.
I may look like a fool on this one, but I really don't at all believe in the Dallas Mavericks. As much as I love Dirk, I just don't. I don't really like Monte Ellis very much. Chandler Parsons hasn't really been that amazing in a Dallas Mavericks uniform, and I really like the Houston Rockets. To me, James Harden's my MVP, and I think as Dwight Howard gets more and more healthy, I think the Rockets clean 4-0.
That's the thing though. We've really seen the past few seasons they didn't have any spectacular regular seasons, but they really just play up to the playoffs. You know,
Yeah.
they get hyped up.
They took the Spurs to 7 last year.
Exactly. That's why I think Dallas is going to come out gunning and take them to 6 games.
I can't yell at you and say you're wrong as much as I want to because the Mavericks, you can't ever really count them out, but I really just think that the Rockets are one of the better teams in the NBA.
The Rockets are big time. They are big time behind James Harden.
That's an NBA Finals winner, contender,
of course.
100%.
James Harden, he's big time. I'm telling you, he took the next big step this year.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I on the spot, I might want to say that James Harden's the 4th best player in basketball on the spot. Off the top of my head.
Off the top, yeah.
Because I have LeBron 1 and I have Durant 2 and I have Russell Westbrook at 3, and I might have to.
You take him over Curry?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Curry couldn't have done, I don't think, what Westbrook did at all.
Oh no. I'm saying Harden. You take him over Harden.
I think the way Harden just gets to the basket, he still averages 7 assists. Honestly,
yeah.
He can do so many things.
Curry is such a great shooter though.
He's right now the most efficient player in basketball.
Yeah. Curry, there's no stopping Curry when he gets in his zone.
No, I mean, hey, listen, you can't really count out to Steph Curry, but I still I'm a big James Harden guy. I think what he does is really amazing.
Oh yeah, well, whoever it is, they're definitely 4 and 5. You know, just whichever one you take first.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. That's why you hesitate to bring it up, but it's off the top of my head. That's how I would have it. We go to now the 3-6 matchup, which is intriguing as it gets. The Los Angeles Clippers win, I think it was
they've won
15 out of their last 16
yeah.
in order to get into the playoffs, find themselves at the 3 seed, and they're playing the defending champion San Antonio Spurs, who rightfully deserve to be a 5th seed, but since the Trailblazers won their division, they get handed the 4th, even though they're about 3 games worse than the 6 seed Spurs, which, excuse me, I think is a terrible rule.
Yeah.
I think it's awful.
Yeah, me too.
But I think it's going to be a very intriguing series. Last night, Blake Griffin posterized half the Spurs roster. He went for, I think it was 26, and Chris Paul goes for 32. Big nights from their superstars, and they won convincingly. It's the Spurs, so I don't know how I feel, so I'll let you go first.
All right, listen. You know I'm a big Spurs guy. I was behind them last season the whole way. I called them going to the finals the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just an intriguing matchup because both of these teams had a huge runs to end the regular season. Like you said, Clippers 15 out of the last 16. Spurs won like 20 out of like 22 games. Yeah, something
and they
like
were
that.
winning them all by like 15 points.
I know, and that's why the game one they getting killed. That doesn't mean anything to me. That's a win. Okay, all right. That's why I think I'm gonna go with Spurs in 7.
Okay.
And I don't really mind the fact that they have to win a game 7 because of Tim Duncan, all the veterans that they have. That's not going to phase them or anything like that. That's why I don't have a problem with the Spurs going into the Staples Center and winning a game 7.
See, I'm really torn here. I like the Clippers to win this series, but one thing that pops out to me is, do Chris Paul and Blake Griffin need to play like that every night for them to win?
Yeah.
See, if it was closer, I'd be really concerned, but it was a convincing win. So it's really tough to get a grip on this series and what direction it's going to go in.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can the Clippers get that victory in San Antonio? It's very, very tough to call. Now, for me, I'm going to take the Clippers. Oh, man. I'm taking the Clippers. I can tell you that much.
All right.
Okay, I could see this thing going anywhere between 5 and 7 games.
This is the thing, though.
I can't get a grip on it.
We've seen many times where Greg Popovich sees he's not going to win the game and just stops trying.
No, but I and I was looking for that, and he didn't really do that till there was about 2 minutes left. Tim Duncan was playing deep into that fourth quarter. He wanted to try to give it a chance. He didn't have a chance. They were clicking on all cylinders. I think the Clippers are so fired up, man. I think that they are so poised to make a run. I'm going to go with the gutsy call. I'm going to go Clippers in 5.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to go with the gutsy call here.
All right.
I think the Clippers are fired up.
Yeah, and I think of the exact opposite. I think the fact that the game did happen, they did lose the way they did, that's going to fire the Spurs up, and that's why I think they're going to come out and win Game 2. This Game 2 is huge for them. If they lose, then it's like, all right, they maybe have some doubt in their minds. All right, we have to come back and win 2 games to even the series. But if they win Game 1, that's like, all right, we got this. We can easily win. They can win the Staples Center, that they'll show, and they can show that they can play with the Clippers.
Game 2 will be very crucial. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
And the final game now is going to be the Trailblazers, who have a worse record but home court advantage, up against the Memphis Grizzlies. For some reason, I believe it was 186 Grizzlies Game 1, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that is going to be a trend that continues for really one reason here. I heard rumors that Blazers are now scared that LaMarcus Aldridge will be leaving come this offseason. And to me, that means that for those rumors to come out after Game 1, LaMarcus Aldridge might have checked out already. They take a 14-point loss on their home floor. I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
I don't like hearing that either, and that scares me for them. Because the fact that you lose by 14 points and then that's about your star even staying after Game 1, that's one game. Like, we've seen teams come back for one game. Come on, that's just not a good sign for them.
No, I think Damian Lillard gets them one game, but I think that Memphis is going to get it because I really don't think that right now. I guess from that, I just feel like maybe the Trailblazers have checked out and don't have the heart.
Yeah, I'll give him 2 games. I'm gonna say Memphis in 6.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, because I think Lillard will have one game, and if Aldridge comes to play, maybe he'll get a game. But Portland just did not look good. They did not look good at all, and that was surprising because last year they showed they can do something in the playoffs. They won a series.
Yeah. Now we're gonna obviously get into overtime, and the question is going to be a little interesting here. On the Eastern Conference side, and we'll do it for the West. What is the one storyline that you're really going to be watching? Just what is something that you want to see? You want to see maybe if a player can do this, or you want to, what is it that you're going to be watching closely?
I'm going to be watching Derrick Rose on the Eastern Conference. I want to see if he can continue what he did in Game 1. If he can continue this trend, then they have a shot to make a real run at the Eastern Conference Finals. Because we've always been saying, Derrick Rose needs to come back for the playoffs, and he has come back for the playoffs. And we've always talked about the potential that they have if they did have Derrick Rose, because they were always in the playoffs, but they lacked a star in Derrick Rose. So I'm interested to see what they can do if Derrick Rose fully healthy, he's playing to his potential. I want to see what he can do.
For me, I'm going to be keeping tabs on Kevin Love. I think that is going to be the deciding factor in how far this team goes. I want to see him have a killer instinct in this first round, and I want to see him have a big game in at least one out of these first 4. So that is something that I'm going to be, because if he doesn't, if he just lets LeBron and Kyrie do the whole thing by himself, then how ready is Kevin Love going to be when it becomes big game time?
I'm very scared about Kevin Love because we've seen sometimes during the season and that he's just checked out and like, oh, you don't really need me to win this game. I'm just going to stand around and I'll shoot a 3-pointer occasionally every now and then and get a couple of rebounds because his rebound numbers have been down. So I want to see him step up. I want to see him step up to the plate. Big, all right, I'm going to have a big game.
All right, and out west, the one thing within this first round that you're going to be looking for.
All right, I'll let you go first in the west.
For me, what I'm going to be watching is because I'm going to try and enjoy it as much as I can. That's Anthony Davis. He's only got this one series in him, and then he's not going to be playing basketball for a little bit. I think he's a future MVP. I love Anthony Davis as a Kentucky fan. I fell in love with his basketball abilities a long time ago, and I knew that kid was going to be something special. And I'm just going to enjoy it. I'm just going to sit back and enjoy Anthony Davis.
I'm gonna go not off a limb here, but the 1 seed. I want to see what Steph Curry can do in the playoffs. We've seen previous seasons though they've made the playoffs, but they've never, done anything big. They took that big steps. I want to see Stephen Curry have a big-time playoffs and really take this team far into the playoffs because it's time that they make a run. They make that next step and go into the finals. I want to see them make a run, and it's going to be behind Stephen Curry if they have to do it.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. We'll see how many of our picks are correct. Until next time, Kevin Walsh, Dave Giacomino, this has been Final Whistle.